Hello and welcome to Crafternoon. I am Miss Mary and I'm here at the Pacific Grove Public Library and I imagine that you're at home. So thank you so much for joining me. Today we are making a cup weaving craft. So this is or was a Dixie cup that has yarn and it's been cut so that it looks like weaving. And this is a finished product. You can use it to hold anything that you'd like, snacks, food, other crafts, anything you'd like. So to get started, you'll need a cup, you'll need yarn, and you'll need some scissors. Mine have paint on them. And you'll need a Sharpie and tape and a measuring tape. So the idea is, and you can make your cup whatever size the cup is. So I've chosen something small because it actually does take quite a bit of time. In fact, this one I had help from my daughter. So I have chosen a smaller cup, but you can choose a larger cup. So the first thing you want to do is you want to measure the circumference of the rim. And you want to do that because you need to divide it up into sections that are even. Now this cup, when I measured around, it is just a little bit, there we go, it's upside down, just a little bit longer than 7 inches, but it's about 7 inches. The most important thing is that when you're making your cuts, you need to have 7 or an odd number. It won't work if it's even. So if this was, let's say if it was 8, I would still probably just make only 7 cuts. Maybe I just make each one a little bit wider. Or if it's closer to 10, depending on your cup, then I have to make sure that I used an odd number. So closer to 9, or maybe I can make 11 if they were narrow. Okay, so the first thing I do is I take my tape measure, and if you don't have that, you can kind of guess. It's up to you. And as I said, I want to make sure that I have 7 different sections. So on here, each section you can kind of see, it kind of goes like a little divot, and that makes a section. So it's like a panel or a section. I'm going to make 7, and that means I'll make 7 cuts. So as long as it's odd, it's just fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around, and every inch I'm going to make like a mark. So in my case, I make like a little dot, and it's fine because at the end it will all be covered up. And I'm on 3. Let's see. 4. Okay, 5. 6. And then I'm gonna need 1 more. 7. Okay, so double check, because really this is the hardest part, is just remembering that you need an odd number. So count your dots if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So thankfully I have an odd number. Now once you have your little marks, you're going to go ahead and cut all the way to the bottom. And of course it's a cup, so there's a little bit of, not quite a rim, but there's a bit of a base. So I want to take my scissors, watch my fingers, and cut all the way down to the bottom. So we'll just go ahead and cut. There we go. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Now I've kind of created a section. And remember, this section is just like this section here. And I'm just going to keep on going to the bottom. And I'm going to try to keep it straight if possible. And then I have last one. Okay, and that should work. So I should have 7 sections. You may want to double check and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. If for some reason I'm like, oh my goodness, I thought I did it right, and I count and I have 8 or any kind of even number, you can just maybe just make another cut in between one of them so that you have an odd number. Okay, the next step, I've got my cup, it's ready to go. I actually need to do some weaving. So I have my yarn, it's purple, and I just need to find the end. So let me pull it so I find the end. Ah, here it is. Okay, here is the end. Now, one way to do this to keep it down is to tape it. It's up to you. I like tape. My cup has wax on it, so it's like a wax cup. It doesn't stick the best, but that's okay. So here's my cup. I'm going to put the tape on the yarn and then put it inside my cup at the bottom. Okay, I pressed it down. There you go. You can see how it's taped in there. And now, once it's taped in the bottom, you want to make sure that the yarn, of course, comes out. Don't pull too hard or else the tape will come up and your yarn will go through. So, kind of gently. So now I'm ready to go. I have my first start. I'm going to go around and then it's kind of a back and forth. And so I go over and then behind. And ideally, it's the best to make it kind of pull a little bit tight, not too tight or else of course the tape will come off. But it makes for a very smooth cup. You can see at the bottom I didn't have the hang of it and it was a little more loose, and it looks like that. And so I go over and then I go behind, and I'm going to go over this time and then behind. So it's kind of back and forth, and you should be able to see how it looks like every other one. I'm going to see the yarn. Okay, so it went behind, now it's going to go in front, and then the next one it will go behind. Okay, so make sure you can see all of that, right? Just every other in front, then behind. Now what's happened is I've come to where I started. So now, because it's an odd number, every other one will be facing, well, you can see the yarn. So now I'm going to continue to go with the pattern, right, in front, and then behind, and then in front, and then behind. Okay, and as I go around, I try to push it down to kind of keep it nice and straight and tight as I can. If you realize, oh my goodness, it's not very tight, I can pull on it, well then that's fine. You can still do that as well. Depends how you'd like it to be. So I pulled on it and I pushed it down, and let's see, I'm going to continue to do that. And there we go. All right, and I think I have caught up to where I'm at. So there we go. So now I'm here, and I'm going to go in front and then behind. And then I just go back and forth like that, always trying to keep it as tight as I can, and then pushing it down. And then as you go along, it will start to look more and more like this. Great. Wonderful. Well, you know what? That was part one, and only part one, because you're such amazing students. Thank you so much, or I should say crafters. Thank you very much for joining me at the Pacific Grove Public Library for cup weaving. Have a great day, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.